All right, let's talk about actually improvising now. And that means you're kind of making up a solo. Most of the solos that happen on guitar, I would say, are improvised. And in the beginning, they're improvised by the person who created them, and then other people copy them. There is something to learning, figuring out a solo and playing it note for note, and whether it's your own creation or someone else's, and keep on playing that same thing. But a lot of times it can be an expression of praise, an expression of worship, to actually just let loose and make up your own thing as you're going here. And sometimes it's just sheer laziness because you don't want to have to learn the Lincoln Brewster solo, so you just make up your own, which I'm all for, because Lincoln Brewster stuff is hard to learn at times, and making up your own stuff can sometimes be easier. Not that easier is always better, but let's talk about improvising. And if we were to take the Pledge of Allegiance, all right, and if we took the Pledge of Allegiance and just said it without any pauses or inflections of the voice, and we just went, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's some people's guitar solos. They just play a bunch of notes, just do over and over and over, without really any phrasing, without any feel, without really any regards for up and down and beginnings and end. And so when it comes to soloing and improv, is you want to create phrases. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. All right, so you hear in there, there's pauses, there's some up and down of the voice, and we're creating a little bit more interest, a lot more interest actually. So let's take Blessed Be Your Name, and we're going to stick with the minor pentatonics here. And so we're going to be playing G sharp minor pentatonic, and I'm just going to at first play the scale up and down, and then I'm going to play the scale rhythmically with some phrases, and then from there I'm going to move off and just make stuff up within the context of just this shape, where I'm not going to deviate from this shape other than maybe a slide up or something here and there. But we're just going to stay in this position here on the G sharp minor pentatonic. Alright, so there's just the scale. Now I'm going to play it with some phrasing. Musical. Now let's kind of just create kind of a different melody. So a few of the things you saw me do in there, besides the mistakes, which I'm happy to make. You got to sin boldly, like Martin Luther says. And but there's just some simple things I did here. There's one, I just let notes ring out. Just use the sustain of the guitar and the amplifier and the overdrive just to do the work. You don't need 100 notes. I repeated things. So now by the third time you repeat that, people might start getting twitchy, and that creates a little tension, and so you don't want to repeat it too many times where people are just like, oh, they say the same thing over and over. You want to repeat it just enough to where people hear the repeat, and then you resolve it. So let me give you an example of that. created that kind of little bit of tension with the repeating, and then we went to something else. Couple other things with the phrasing is just creating space, is not playing anything at all. Let's try a little bit of that. So we'll play a couple runs, and then we'll just pause. They say the space between the notes is actually what makes the music, and you just say that to guitar players when they're being too busy, and it just makes them mad. But it is true. When you stop playing, all of a sudden the ear grabs that, and then the next note that you play becomes more important. And so don't be afraid to use silence.